Good morning, everybody. All right, today I received this file here, and I'm going to pull it up and show you. Now, what this is this is a 30-minute program, and you can see it has captions here, and it's fine for broadcasting on YouTube or sending out QuickTime and everything like that. And it may be fine for certain broadcast playout systems, but it does not work with ours. We have an Omneon MediaDeck, and it doesn't accept H.264 files with these captions. These are 608 captions, and we need 708 captions. All right, so here's what we need to do. We have to actually use MacCaption to pull this stuff out. And the way I'm going to do this is first I'm going to encode this into the MXF file that we need, because our Omneon MediaDeck plays MXF files with captions perfectly as long as the captions are embedded. As long as there's 708 captions and they're embedded, it'll play them perfectly. It's fine. But it will not play H.264 files, so I cannot use this file in its current state. Okay, so once Adobe Media Encoder is open, I'm going to convert this file to an MXF file. Okay, here it is. And all I do is just drag it in here. And then once it comes up, I make sure I pick, out of all these options, I make sure I pick MXF OP1A. And then out of all of these options, I make sure I choose XDCam HD35 NTSC 60i. None of the other options will play out properly. This is the one that has to work. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it here. By clicking here, I can set it to go to my spot transfers folder, which is where I want it to go right now. And I'll hit save. And I'm going to show you one thing that's really important to note. If this file had 708 captions, this might work, but because it has 608 captions, it's not going to work. Here, you can choose your video settings and your audio settings, but in this particular case, I'm going to look at the caption settings. And there are captions, and I can create a sidecar file, or I can embed in the output file. And if I create the sidecar file, then I can create basically what's called an SCC file. And this is what I want to do, because then I don't have to deal with the movie in MacCaption. So I'm going to create this SCC file. And you could also create these others, the VANC file and XML and stuff like that. But I know the SCC file works, so I'm going to stick with that. If I went embed an output file, the problem with doing that is there's 608 captions, and so when I go to play them on the air, it's not going to work. I will be able to preview them, but I won't be able to see them on the air. And on the air is more important than the preview. So let's create the sidecar file. And let's go ahead and hit OK. And we have all our settings ready, and we're just going to hit play. Now this takes a good 10, 12 minutes. I don't want to sit here and blab at you for 10 to 12 minutes while this encodes. So I'm going to pause the recording, and then when it's done, I'll come back. All right, I'm back. And it's finishing up. You should hear it ding in a minute. There it goes. Okay, so now we're going to go into our spot transfers and take a look, and we have an SCC file and an MXF file, and then we have this XMP file that I just toss every time. All right, so now we need to embed these captions into the MXF file. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to open MacCaption software. Now you have to have this software in order to do this, because you cannot get the right channels, the right CC channels in order to do this without this software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the SCC file here, and I'm going to grab it and drag it onto this side. And I'm not going to worry about the video. I don't need to have the video in here in order to do this. But I'm going to scrub through and click on a few of these, and you can see how they are. All right. So now what I'm going to do is look at my caption encoding. So I go to Caption Encode Preferences. And what is important to me is the 708. So as long as I have include 708 captions, encode 708 captions for 16:9, and then this service number program A is 1, and I have it in Spanish because that's what it's supposed to be. As long as I have that, I'm okay. So if I look at program A, CC1, I can even look at 708 in DTV and look at them, and that works. That's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to embed it into the file. And how I do this is I go to File, Export, and then I go down to Embed CC into Media, and then I go to Sony Material Exchange Format, or MXF. And it's asking for the name of a file. So what I'm going to do is click on this one. This is the one I'm going to use, but I don't want to erase it. So I'm going to click on it, hit space, and put CC so that I know that this one is captioned. And I'll hit save. And then this always comes up. I just leave it like this. I turn this on 1 second. I turn this on 15 frames. And I can explain these real quick. What this is this is the lowest limit for when the caption should start, and this is when the data for the caption should start is at 15 frames, so it should be able to load it. Unfortunately, this is really short, and so it may cut off the first caption, but we just have to deal with it this way. So we hit OK, and now it's asking for the input file, the file that it's going to take, make a copy of, and embed the captions into. And that's this one right here. So I go to Spot Transfers, click on this. This is the input file. I'm going to hit OK. And now it's processing. This takes a little bit. It takes about 5 minutes or so. And I wish I could show you the progress window. It never lets me grab it and bring it over for some reason. But all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause, and then when it's done, I'll come back, and then I'll show you how to test the captions. Okay, so now this is done. Here, I'll show you the message window. It says it's done. All right, so now what we have, I'm not going to save this. I don't need to save it. Okay, what we have here is we now have the exported file with CC in it. Now, this is how we're going to test it. You need to have Adobe Premiere in order to test this. You can actually do this with other programs as well, but Premiere gives me the best feedback, and so I choose to use it for this purpose. Okay, Premiere is open. I'm going to use a file that I call caption test. And this does take a little while, even once it opens. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to grab it and drag it into my media here. And it's going to start. And what it will do is it will copy the media over to where it saves the media, and at the same time it's also going to scan for closed captions. So this takes a little while as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it again, and then I'll come back when it's almost done. All right, I'm back and it's almost done. Okay, now it's done. All right, now here in the media browser, if we go over to captions, we can see the captions are here. And we can see what they say, and everything's good. But the other thing that we can see here is what channel they are. So we can see the CEA 608 channels, and we can see the CEA 708 channels. So you can get multiple channels in here. You can get captions in several languages, 4 different languages, whatever you want to do. So now we have the 708 service 1, and we can see that that is there in Spanish. Now, remember, had I done the embed the captions option, I would not get the 708 service. I would only get the 608 service, and that is because the original captions were created in 608. And so it would only give me that channel and embed it straight in there with that channel, and I would not be able to do the 708. But I need the 708 in order to broadcast in high definition, and so everyone else can see it. All right. So that's why I had to go to MacCaption and actually export and embed the files, or embed the captions using the 708 channel. Okay, so now let's go ahead and delete this and quit and not save. All right, so now all I need to do is transfer this file. I'll have to rename it in order to do this, but I'll rename it and transfer the file over to our Omneon system, and this file will play with the captions in both the 608 and 708, and so we will be able to preview it, and we will also be able to broadcast it with the correct captions. Sorry. All right. So that's how you go through that process. You take the file and encode it to the proper format, and then you take the captions and embed them properly, and then you have the final playout file. All right. Thank you very much for watching.